The IA firm Curly Adjustment Bureau has processed claims since before World War II. Today, CAB President Frank Marks drops the truth on the 3 gaps that wipe out new adjusters in week 1, why hurricane deployments are forgiving, yes, you heard me, and the mindset shift that turns contractors, agents, and even attorneys into your best customers. I'm Matt with Adjuster TV, and I've got nearly 30 years in this industry. So let's jump straight into my conversation with Frank and lay out the rookie blueprint that can save your first 90 days in claims starting now. All right, if you're making real money as an adjuster, don't leave your career exposed. Snap this QR code right here or visit cplic.net/adjustertv to grab the free guide and lock in smarter protection today. In your experience, what would you say the biggest gaps that you see in newly licensed adjusters once they get their first claims assignments, whether they are doing CAT or daily or whatever, and what kind of training or preparation would maybe kind of bridge that gap, do you think?
Well, Matt, first of all, the training we used to have in this industry was from the carriers. And that was usually great training when you had the Liberty Mutuals, Ohio Casualties, companies like that were training young people, and they would then sometimes go into the independent side or stay on the carrier side. What we've seen is that isn't happening as much because when we entered the industry, it was multiple line adjusting. Now you're pigeonholed into one category or another, whether it's auto, PIP, or liability or property. So we're seeing the adjusting schools are filling some of that void. And what we're seeing is when we hire a young person, we'll send them to one of these schools. Generally, the majority of what we're handling is property, and most independents are doing that. 70% of our business is property. So we're looking for, obviously, a young person, man or woman, who has some practical experience, but also understands how to read a policy, understands coverages, which is the most important thing, and then is willing to get out there and interact with the public.
Being a great adjuster isn't just about policy and software. You got to know the difference between hail damage and worn out shingles. Hague has the gold standard books and certifications to back you up in the field or at the desk. Scan the QR code or hit hagueeducation.com and use Adjuster TV for a discount and level up with Hague. Do you guys do any catastrophe, or is it mostly daily?
Yeah, it's mostly daily. We're also a claims administrator. We'll do CAT within our region, and our region is 5 states. But we've done it in the past where we send people down to Florida or Texas. It isn't part of our business plan. It doesn't work well for us because generally then we leave ourselves a little short on our end.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a common question I get from people, especially in particular new folks, about the difference between daily and catastrophe, and can I do both? And my advice to them is usually, well, probably going to get your main entree into the industry through catastrophe because it's highly repetitive and it's kind of a sink or swim sort of a situation. And if you get the right preparation, you can definitely swim. But then once you get, like you said, it's getting exposure to the coverages and the policies, what's a deductible, how to explain depreciation to the insured, all that kind of stuff. Get some experience and you can transition over to daily. But once you get to daily, it's preferable to kind of try and stay there, just because, like you said, it kind of leaves the firm and the carrier in a lurch when everybody disappears to go to Hurricane Irma. But also presents an opportunity because everybody's going to disappear and go to Hurricane Irma, and you stay behind, and then you're going to get, as much as you can handle, right, as an independent doing daily, staying home and not going on the hurricane.
Exactly. And that's expensive, not just for the companies, but it's also expensive for the individual adjuster because the fact that they're away from home, and I've done CAT. We handled a hurricane in Johnstown. I personally did it as a young adjuster in 1977, so I'm dating myself. But you're away for months at a time. I mean, you're working 7 days a week. I mean, you can make excellent money, but there's a drawback to it.
Yeah, for sure. The dishwasher and the slab leak and the toilet, they don't, there's not a season for those things to break. They just happen. It just happens whenever.
Right.
So there is a lot of confusion out there about what an adjuster who just got their license. They just kind of found this industry and they've watched a few of my videos, or they've gotten on the boards, or they've talked to somebody and they decided, yep, this is the thing for me. They get their license. What do they do next for the very next step for them to be really ready to serve this industry in the best way?
And if they're a young person starting a career like that, I would highly encourage them to go out and work for a CAT team, because they're going to get more experience in a couple months than they might otherwise in a year working for an independent and doing daily claims. They're going to see so much. They're going to learn how to estimate. They're going to obviously learn the policy very quickly. And CAT is forgiving. You know what we've seen also is the carriers that are hiring these CAT adjusters are a little bit more lenient with regard. They're not sticklers with regard to, well, you might have missed this, or did you give them a little bit of extra on the tear out that you shouldn't have, or is there an extra dump? They're not worried about that. They're worried about getting in, meeting these people, helping them out, getting a check out, getting that file closed. So in one respect, it's a lot easier for a younger person, I think.
What do you wish that every new adjuster understood about what this career really demands? Mindset, workload, personal responsibility before they ever show up on your roster?
Great question. Number one, I think they have to understand that everyone you meet is a customer. It's not just the carrier or the independent you're working for, but it's obviously it's not just the insured, but it's their agent. It's the contractor. They have to go in with a mindset that, there's no good guys, bad guys, and they have to go in with a mindset that every claim needs to be properly looked at, and not with a thought that maybe this person is trying to pull something over. Take every claim as it is. And you know what the amazing thing is, Matt, every claim is different. Even though you may have a bunch of houses on the same street that got flooded out, every claim is different. Every person you're dealing with is different. So I think the mindset is you got to go in with the idea that this is a great industry. It's the largest one in the world. You're going to have a stable income. You can make a really good living at this, but you have to go in with the mindset that you're there also to help people. And I think if you have that mindset that as an insurance adjuster, I'm almost like a first responder. I'm there to help people. And that is really the most rewarding part of this business.
You're the only other person I've ever heard say that about how everybody in the process is your customer. Literally. I think my very first video that I ever made for this channel back in beginning of 2018, I said, everybody's your customer, including and maybe even especially the contractor and other people that you may think are in an adversarial role. So that really resonates, and it was so powerful for me to figure that piece out. It made this job, I mean, it's still challenging or whatever, but it made it so much less stressful when I approached everybody as though they were my customer.
Yes.
It makes sense now why Frank says that every claim is different. But here's the twist that they never teach. The carrier that I ran steady claims for 14 straight years cut me loose with a single email, and many adjusters, rookie and veteran alike, are walking into the same trap. Discover the simple move that keeps your phone ringing even when your biggest client ghosts you, right here. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a great storm.